Sure. Do you have anything you want to say today? All right. Good morning, everyone. Today we have another update where we're going to discuss our ongoing response and also update on the snowstorm that is heading our way. Yesterday, I toured Pike County, and it has been hit hard. Significant damage to homes, the inside of homes, so many people having lost just about everything on the first floor. Businesses that had 6 to 8 feet of water through them. Talked to one lady who runs a small business that opened her doors and just didn't know where to start. Just about every piece of equipment that she had invested in over 10 years wiped out. City of Coal Run hit especially hard, and we're thinking about them. Today, I have the unfortunate news of also updating our fatality count. We are now at 14. The two new fatalities both come from Jefferson County, an adult female, an adult male. They appear to have been homeless. Both appear to have died by hypothermia. So that should tell all of us that the weather conditions are as dangerous as that water is. And so when I go through these weather slides, I hope all Kentuckians will be prepared, especially if they do not have power or it's not safe to heat their home because of the damage that they had. Let's remember that this 14 fatalities is not just a number. These are children of God. These are Kentuckians that are missed by their families and by their communities. I'm already hearing from people who know these individuals, and let's pray for them and let's support them. We now have disaster declarations, written declarations from 44 counties, verbal declarations by 13 counties, 12 cities written, and 7 cities verbal. That again should reinforce that this has been a natural disaster and continues to be of incredible breadth all across Kentucky, with counties hit, in the east, in the central, and in the west. I mean, you look at Pike County and Woodford County, both being counties that have written disaster declarations. Yesterday, we got to see our National Guard in action. We've long had the best National Guard in the country, and they proved it again. The Kentucky National Guard, Kentucky State Police, and Kentucky Emergency Management, alongside partners from Indiana and Tennessee National Guard, to work together on more than 800 response missions yesterday. Their dedication and teamwork have been critical in this response. Yesterday in Martin County, we sent out helicopters from KSP as well as the Kentucky and Indiana National Guards. In a combined effort of teamwork, they successfully evacuated 296 Kentuckians from a couple of apartment complexes where the water was rising and created very serious concern. As the situation evolves, the Kentucky National Guard is transitioning from life-saving missions to recovery efforts focused on debris removal, restoring access, and transporting supplies to affected communities. And we're going to be pre-positioning Guard assets for the coming snowstorm, given our concern about getting the roads pre-treated and what 6 to 8 inches in some areas of snow can do on top of what we've already seen. There's some concerns there because of people being stranded, maybe not being able to get out because of mudslides on the road. And so we want to make sure that we're ready. I want to personally thank the Guard, KSP, and KYEM for their hard work. We're proud of them. Soon you're going to hear about this mission from Brigadier General Brian Wurtzler. I want to go over a couple of weather slides so we know what's coming at us because it is significant. Let's put up the first one. So this is the most recent forecast from the National Weather Service, which continues to give us updates. What it says is that we could get in the west, I think up to 8 inches of snow in some areas. And then in the east, places that are hurting like Pikeville, could get 6 to 7 inches. With what we have seen in the weather recently, we are worried that we could get the higher end of this weather. The worst part will be west of I-165 in western Kentucky, but 2 or 3 to 7 inches in places that have been hit hard can be dangerous. Let's look at the second one. This is the timing for when we believe this weather is going to hit. This is a snowstorm in the middle of a natural disaster. It's going to start today in the west, 3 to 6 p.m., and then it's going to go across the state. The worst of it is going to hit and ultimately be out tomorrow morning. But everybody recognize that this may be in your evening tonight or even overnight into the early hours. The heaviest snow between 9 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. on Wednesday. That's concerning in and of itself, but the next slide is the one I'm worried about the most. It's going to get really cold. We got people without power. We got people that can't heat their homes that might have power because of the damage. And we are going to have wind chills that are negative Thursday morning and are really low on Friday morning. So we're going to be working today with our area EMs, our counties, to make sure we have warming centers set up. To the people of Kentucky, if you cannot safely power your home by the middle of today, you need to be looking at a shelter option because, again, it's damp out there. There's going to be a lot of snow, and you need to make sure you're safe. Right now, these are the emergency shelters that are open. There's 15 of them. They're on your screen, but we hope to publish more as the day goes on. You can call your local emergency management office and ask about shelter options. So I want to say this again. We still have a lot of people who cannot heat their homes, even if they have power, because of the damage. They worry about electrical, and it's going to get really cold tomorrow morning. So let's make sure that we've got enough centers open. And again, if you can't safely heat your home by this afternoon, either call and go stay with friends, look at one of these shelters, go stay with family. Let's just make sure that we don't lose anybody else to these cold temperatures. I want to talk about the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. We established that to assist with individuals harmed by the floods. This is a fully transparent fund. Every single dollar will go to the families that have been impacted. This is so transparent, even just an open records request, you can see exactly how the dollars are spent. The first thing we do with all these funds is to pay for funerals. Right now, we're going to have at least 14 of them. But as of this morning, there's just over $50,000 that have been donated from 561 donors. So just to cover funerals, we're going to need a little bit more help. I mean, remember, we mourn together first, and none of these families that have lost their loved ones to such tragic circumstances should have to worry about being able to afford a funeral or should have to wait for reimbursement for one. So I'd ask everybody out there, let's be generous to help these families, especially in their time of grief. We have operations teams across the country, across the Commonwealth. They are in Clay, Perry, Leslie, Letcher, Knott, Breathitt, Harlan, Floyd, Pike, and Martin counties. We still have 2 National Guard helicopters in the east at Big Sandy, able and available to help. We have more air support from our Guard that is here in Frankfort, as well as KSP that can be deployed as needed. We were able to release the Tennessee National Guard. We thank them very much. We believe Indiana will head back home today. We're really grateful for all of their help. We're going to be able to draw down some, especially of the out-of-state teams that are here as we move from an emergency response that will likely continue through this snowstorm, but eventually to more of a recovery phase. I want to thank all our utility workers because as this cold approaches, we're now down to just 4,189. Actually, it went up a little bit, 4,303 customers without power. But do remember that some people that have power might not be able to safely heat their homes because of the water damage that they've experienced. The drinking water systems are coming back online. We still have one system not operational, Elkhorn City, but they are working hard. They're working really hard to get that back up online, and we appreciate them. We have 26 systems under limited operations. We have 53,077 service connections under boil water advisory. That's higher because we now have more customers that are getting water, but it's just going to have to be boiled for a period of time. We now have 18,245 service connections without water. On wastewater, we have two systems that are not operational. That's the Jackson and the Thelma plants. 32 are listed as limited operation. 13 are bypassing. 12 systems with lift stations have reported overflowing. Our Kentucky State Police was a part of that air rescue and then is helping each and every day in their communities. Since Saturday, the telecommunicators have taken 9,663 calls for service. They continue to assist in so many different ways. This is new today. Our Kentucky State Police posts are going to be open to take calls about missing persons or individuals that might need wellness checks. I believe we have the district numbers that are up on the screen right now. What this will allow us to do with both our USAR teams and KSP is do more targeted wellness checks where we believe that there is a concern for an individual. We did not lose cell phone service for most of the areas affected, which leads me to believe that most people have contacted their family members or their friends. But if you are worried about somebody, you haven't heard from them, you know where they live, these are numbers to call. And we'll get that information routed here through the EOC. Thank you to the Kentucky State Police for accepting this mission and for helping us, FEMA, and everybody else. We now have 191 people currently being sheltered at 4 Kentucky State parks, occupying 72 rooms. After Pike County, yesterday I went to Jenny Wiley, where we have 112 adults and 31 children. High axle vehicle and then a pontoon boat to get to the lodge, but everyone is safe. And I want to thank our parks workers. I mean, they're coming over that same way, getting transported in and out each morning to make sure that they can make it. I even saw a shift change, and it just so proud of our Team Kentucky members that were there, making sure we were taking care of people. Pine Mountain has 2 adults, Natural Bridge 16 adults, 9 children, Buckhorn 13 adults, 8 children. Buckhorn has limited operations, and we may open Carter Caves if needed for specific populations. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet update. Remember, these numbers go up and down. They may go up because of mudslides. The embankments are wet, so we're having new hazards on the roads. 296 state or federal roads that are closed, and they are in every corner of the state. Still about 2,300 Department of Highway personnel that are out there and that are going to be out there with this winter storm coming. So remember, they, like the people in this EOC, have been working since at least Saturday on very limited sleep. So give them a wide berth. When you see them in your community, thank them. These are heroes like everybody in this center that are doing their very best, that are working overtime because they care about their fellow Kentuckians. Challenges are going to continue this week as some of the rivers have not yet crested. We can have backwater flooding. We have saturized ground plus freezing temperatures that could lead to more mudslides. And again, the receding water could lead to embankment failures. In good news, all our driver's license offices are open today. Some had been previously inaccessible. We showed you earlier, we have 15 emergency shelters open right now. These have been primarily for flood victims. We're going to need warming shelters across the state, especially in these areas. Again, if you don't have power or can't safely, let me say that again, safely heat your home, because there are lots of ways that people try to heat it unsafely. You need to be calling friends or family. You've got some time today to do that. Please, we're already in a very difficult situation. We don't want it to get worse. You have time to get to a safe place by tonight to wake up somewhere warm, as opposed to the wind chills that we're going to see tomorrow. City of Jackson's water's been restored. That means our 2 Department of Juvenile Justice facilities located there, they're now able to shower and wash clothes, but we're continuing to use bottled water until it's safe. The Southeast State Correctional Complex in Floyd County now has access to water, but boiled water advisory is in effect. A bridge leading to the maintenance building of the Bell County Forestry Camp, which is a minimum security prison, has been completely washed out. It's not affected our operations. It just is affecting that infrastructure. All right, once again, I want to go over when to call 911 and when not to, and that will apply in this snowstorm that's coming as well. If you have an emergency or a life-threatening situation, call 911. We want you to call 911. The people are ready to take that call and get help to you. But if you're not in an emergency or life-threatening situation, if it's more of an immediate need situation, you need to call the 502-607-6665 number. A lot of people are doing this, and I just saw we were backed up a certain number of calls. We're surging the number of people to answer them. Please keep calling this number. We'll do everything we can to have enough staff to get to you. And if you've made a call but haven't heard back, know that we are adding additional resources there. Finally, this morning, we applied to Secretary Noem and President Trump through FEMA for individual assistance for our people. If that's approved, there would be serious needs assistance available of $770, cleaning and sanitizing funds of $350, and then potential applications with a max grant award of $43,600. From what I saw yesterday, I think this is an event where people might not have that max amount of damage, but they'll have lost a whole lot, especially on their first floor, appliances and other parts of their home. And then there'll need to be some serious repairs, electrical, HVAC, and others to make their home habitable again. I'm going to turn it over to the general. He will be followed by Director Gibson, who I'm told I called secretary yesterday. He has not, at least yet, been promoted, and he has not gotten a raise, but he is still here, working as hard as he can. And let me just, as I turn it over, you can see some of the folks that are in here. This is level 1. This is the A team. They've been working a ton, and I just want them to hear, and I want you to hear how grateful I am to everyone at the EOC, all of our emergency managers that are out there. They should be really proud of their work, and we should be really proud of them. General.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. I'm Brigadier General Brian Wurtzler. I'm the Deputy Adjutant General for the Kentucky Army National Guard. Since Friday, we've had more than 250 soldiers and airmen from the Kentucky Army and Air National Guard, as well as airmen or air guardsmen from Indiana and Tennessee National Guard, as the governor mentioned. Within our units from 149th Maneuver Enhancement Brigade, 75th Troop Command, 63rd Aviation Brigade, within the Air Guard, 123rd Air Wing, their Special Tactics Squadron, and their contingency response teams have been on mission. We have assisted in 16 of the counties from Paducah to Prestonsburg since Saturday. We are happy, as the governor alluded to, talk about the mission yesterday, the Joint Air Mission, working with KSP, where we rescued 296 Kentuckians in Martin County, utilizing 9 aircraft from KSP, Kentucky National Guard, Tennessee National Guard, Indiana National Guard. As the search and rescue winds down and our ground teams are assisting with debris removal to restore trafficability in affected counties right now. As we transition our missions from flooding response to potential winter weather response, our focus remains on the safety of Kentuckians that we serve, as well as our airmen and soldiers within the Kentucky National Guard. The National Guard's motto is always ready, always there. And we will continue to work with the governor and the Kentucky Emergency Management to anticipate needs and deploy resources as requested. The Kentucky National Guard remains committed to safeguarding the well-being of the Commonwealth citizens during this challenging time. Thank you, and I'll be followed by Director Gibson.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Governor. So this morning, I just come to you with a brief update on the operational status. The governor's done an excellent job telling you about what's going on now and what's coming up with this new weather event. So I wanted to just give you a brief update at that operational level, what's going on for us and the things that we're doing. We're still working very hard. to make sure that all of our people have got the resources that they need to get through this next event. We believe that this water rescues, many of them are going to start slowing down today. That allow our teams and crews to refit, get their gear straightened back out, get a little bit of rest if we don't receive any emergency calls for life-threatening situations. We'll use that time to prepare for this next event that you all have all heard about this morning that we know that's coming. There's more work to be done. So as we continue to stabilize the ongoing flooding event, we're expanding our efforts to help in this new winter storm event, as we know there are many of people are still without power, but those that have got power restored may not have all of their homes back in operational order, where they may not have all their heating appliances, or their furnaces have been damp, or their hot water heaters have been damp. So we know that many of those appliances may be failed at this point, and we understand that that cold weather that's coming in is going to increase the need for our team to provide resources to those individuals that may be in those situations. So we're going to expand our efforts on that as we continue to stabilize the ongoing flooding situation. Our resources and personnel are fully engaged in the ongoing event now, and anybody that needs anything, please let us know. We'll do our very best to accommodate it. Like the governor said, our phone lines have been packed with calls. Our team is running through those and providing that assistance. We know that we have a backlog, a small backlog right now, and we are upping the staff in our call center and being able to get those calls out as these emergency needs are kind of slowing down. That'll allow us to more focus on these immediate need situation that's coming up, and we'll prioritize those calls and try to get to the things that are coming in. So as we go through this, we'll start doing those welfare checks today. We know that after these events, many of you will be concerned about your loved ones and where they're at. If you haven't heard from someone that you think may live in a flood-prone area, they're missing, haven't been able to make contact, the state police, we worked with them this morning to get their non-emergency numbers posted as the governor showed. And we're going to use that, and they're going to filter those calls into us and through their troopers and through the local agencies, the local emergency managers. And we're going to try to get those calls checked before this next storm. If someone's in need, we want to try to reach them. If someone's had trouble, we need to make sure that everyone's okay the best we possibly can. Our priority still remains the safety and well-being of everyone in these affected areas. And as you all can see, the power outages are isolated where this storm is still affecting most of our Kentuckians. The West seems to have stabilized pretty considerable at this point. We're hearing of one rescue here and there that still be going on where people are driven around barricades. There were some things that we dealt with yesterday. So please heed those barricades. If they're up and transportation through your county or city or state government have put those up, those are there because that road's damaged. The water's impassable. Please don't drive around the barricades. That's just more work for their already heavily tasked crews that are out there. So we just ask that you keep safe during this event, and we'll continue to get those roads repaired. And we know that those are needs that are coming in from our counties, helping us with that need to get these roads back passable, get them open so they can get into those areas that have been hit. So we're working with our county road departments across the Commonwealth to help their partners in those other counties. So we're working on some mutual aid between our counties that have not had major impacts to help those that have had some major impacts to their roads. So if your county has some available equipment that you'd like to share in mutual aid with your counties that are impacted greatly, that need their roads repaired, if you could spare them for a few days, that's what we'll be coordinating here in our building to try to help that, because those counties are calling us and asking us, can you give me some additional equipment down there? And if you have the ability to help out. Now, with that snowstorm coming, I understand you're probably not going to be able to release your plows and your trucks. So we're facing this issue. As you see, we've got this additional need that's going to lay on top of the ongoing need. But we'll work through this issue, and this isn't a one-day issue. This is going to be several days of work to get these roads back open. So after the snow event, when you get back to a steady state, if you can assist, we would be glad to have your help for those counties that are willing to help. As we continue to work with this, like I said, we're going to move through this event. You saw the weather conditions coming up for this new event. Our team is still here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be ready and able to respond to the needs of the Commonwealth during this new event. We know that this snow, we're using the forecast. We know what the Weather Service is telling us. They've been really accurate through this entire event that started several days ago with rain, snow, and here we go in this same cycle. So you all are seeing that come in. The Weather Service will be back in here just in a few minutes to give us the most current forecast, and we'll continue to update with any pertinent information. But right now, the forecast that they're telling us, they have high confidence that that's a legitimate forecast, so we're preparing accordingly to handle that event. But I will end with just one thing. What do you need from us and how can we help? And where are the people that are unaccounted for or missing? And we'll do our very best to address that today. Thank you very much for your time. Back to you, Governor.
We also have FEMA represented up here. We're grateful for their work, especially in this emergency phase, how they can help us surge resources, coordination, been great cooperation between the federal government, the state government, and all of our local governments. It always ought to be one team when we respond to these natural disasters, and that's exactly what we've seen. Director Gibson gave some good warnings that we need to heed. Don't drive around barricades. Don't drive through water. We lost a lot of these people driving through water, and we don't want to lose any more. Make sure you're in a warm place going into tomorrow. And if we get a lot of snow, take your time in shoveling. Remember that last snow event, we lost at least 4 people to cardiac events. If you're going to power your home through a generator, it's got to be outside. So just all these steps that we should take to take care of ourselves and each other. 14's too many. We don't want to see a 15th or a 16th, whether that's today or through this snowstorm. We want everybody out there to stay safe. With that, we'll open it up to questions. We got 2 journalists here and 2 on the line. We'll start with Karen Czar. We do not have a number right now on the missing. We'll see as it starts to come in. Again, with cell phone service not going out, we don't think that this will be as big as we saw during some of those other disasters where you just couldn't reach someone. I mean, I couldn't reach my cousins in Dawson Springs. Didn't know they were alive until I was in Dawson Springs after that tornado. We'll be working with first responders, especially as this winds down, to provide any and all help. Certainly, we have those resources through the state. We also have a disaster distress hotline that people can and should call, as well as if someone is in crisis, the 988 crisis line is so important with trained people that are on the other end. I think it's a little too early to announce, but I've also had another state that's one that's great to visit, reach out and say they're going to try to put together a package for our first responders to get a little R&R later. I want to see that governor send me the information first, but I'm hopeful that that's available to our first responders. Carolina. What we've seen are impacts from this storm, from this flooding throughout the state. Eastern Kentucky is still experiencing it at a level that most other parts of the state are not. I mean, just yesterday, having an evacuation, even though most of the rain was on Saturday in Martin, just shows how this can move from county to county. Now, my biggest worry, because this is a continuing event, is the cold, with people who are displaced and or are unable to safely power their homes. So our goal today is to continue to view this as an emergency event and to have as many resources as we can available to help our people as we move from floods to snow. And remember, with all these impassable roads, we've got to make sure that people in communities that can't get out are safe and have what they need to get through these next days of snow. Tom Latek on the line.
Thank you, Governor, and good morning to everyone over there. You mentioned that you have applied for the individual assistance from FEMA. I know there's a threshold you have to reach before you can get that. What is the threshold, and are you confident that we have indeed reached that?
We'll get you those numbers. What we have to do to get individual assistance flowing early is to give the best evidence that we can, that we have sufficient damage and have met that threshold. From everything I saw yesterday, I think we're going to be at or above it, but it's going to be a little bit different in how we have to provide that information, as opposed to this just being one area that was hit and wiped out like the line of the tornadoes. This is damage all over the state. So we got to take a number of different data points and put them together so that FEMA, the secretary, and the president have the confidence that we're going to meet that threshold. I'm very confident we're going to meet it, but it's going to be a little bit different. Before what we saw is people's entire home wiped out. This one is going to be just significant damage that we see within a home, but hopefully they're able to return to that home. Stan Ingold from WEKU.
Thank you, Governor. As this winter storm rolls in on the tail end of this flooding, is there concern about a second flooding event as this as temperatures start to rise after this winter storm, after everything that's been going on?
At the moment, flooding isn't the top of those concerns and isn't predicted for this to significantly add to the event we faced. We're more concerned with the roads, people's safety on the roads, and then the really cold temperatures coming in. Those are the two primary concerns that we're facing now. So let me say it again. If you can't safely warm your home by this afternoon, make sure you call friends or family, go stay with them, get kids to a safe place or find one of these emergency shelters. It's not fair that we got hit again. It's not fair that some of the same areas got flooded again, and it's certainly not fair that we're getting hit by a snowstorm while this is still going on. But we here in the EOC and in our counties, we don't get to stop because it's not fair. We got to push through and do the very, very best for our people. And we need the people out there to respond and make sure that by late tonight, you are in a safe place. All right, we will have more updates through social media that we'll push out today. I want to thank everybody for getting the best information out. Reminder, the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund is important. I want to make sure these families don't have to worry about those funeral expenses, and far too many families are going to have one of those funerals. So let's be great Kentuckians. Let's take care of each other today. I want to finally put up the numbers again of our KSP posts as we close out. Those are the numbers to call if you are worried about someone being missing. Call the post in that area and or have a wellness check that you believe needs to be conducted. Thank y'all.